So I'll invite you to make a fist with one hand. So this can be a fist that is relatively angry. Its job is to stay closed. And so giving yourself permission to really, let yourself have this fist. And you might even put all the charge and emotions that kind of go with all the events of today into that fist. And then with the other hand, the invitation is to try to pry that fist open. And just notice what happens as you do that. You may not be real comfortable, just paying attention to what you notice as you try to pry that fist open, remembering that the job of this fist is to stay closed. You don't have to do that for too long. You can shake that out. And we're going to try that again, but in a slightly different way. So I invite you again to make a fist. And again, this fist is, its job is to stay closed. It may be a very angry fist. And for this side, instead of trying to pry the fist open, the invitation is to bring the other hand underneath and to cradle the fist. You might even imagine that the cradling hand is helping the fist stay closed. And just notice what that's like. So you can shake that off, release that practice. And I would be very interested if anybody is willing to share what they noticed in that experience. You're welcome to take yourself off mute and to let us know what you noticed as you did that little practice.
Yes, I noticed that it was hard to pry my hand open, but it felt comforting to hold my fist and just let it be. It's like, okay, like I actually feel like it's okay to have some anger about what's happening in my world, but to not let it devour me. I'm not willing to give it that much power.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, any other reflections different?
Yeah, I noticed, yeah, it was hard the first time to pry it open, and there was definitely more tension and in my jaw and kind of in my whole body. And then with my hand being held, my fist in some ways, I felt like a just more breath and not relaxing, but just able to be there, have a little bit more like compassion, presence, and not so focused on the opening of like wanting something, but more just, yeah, this sense of just like, here it is. And it felt really calming with the anger. So it felt like a really good, support.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. This practice to me kind of represents what's at the heart of mindfulness as an intervention in our own kind of well-being and mental health, and in a systemic way if we're working with others as well. So if we think about, the anger that we put into this fist, and what we're trying to do when we want to pry the fist open is we're saying that the anger is a problem, and we're trying to make it go away. Like, this anger doesn't belong here. I don't want it. It's bad. Don't want this fist. But if we cradle the fist instead and we hold that experience of being a fist with some care, without trying to make it different, without trying to make it change, and we support it and maybe even help it be what it is, there's this kind of automatic softening and welcoming that happens as we do that. And this is a relatively universal experience among just about everybody I've worked with. If you had a very different experience, that's totally fine. There's no one size fits all. But when we exile parts of our experience, when we take our emotions and we say, this is not okay, this needs to go away, it really adds a lot of tension in our system. And we have to do a lot of work to hold that experience kind of out of sight, out of mind, and to tuck it into those corners. But it doesn't just go away. When we instead are willing to be with and care for and cradle this experience, even if it's a very challenging or unpleasant emotion, what gets to happen is we get to care for ourselves, and we're giving ourselves permission to be as we are without saying that part of us is bad or part of us needs to be silenced or put away in order to show up. And so, this practice has a lot of implications, but the invitation that I want to offer you, just as we go about this formal mindfulness practice that we'll dive into here in a moment, is to just as best you can, when you notice that you are trying to ignore, avoid, numb, silence an experience that you are having, actually do the physical exercise of cradling this fist in your hand and giving yourself that gesture of care. This is here. This belongs. This is a part of me. Giving yourself that permission to feel your feelings. They say the felt experience of an emotion lasts for about 90 seconds in your body. And so if you can ride that wave and be with that experience of emotion for those 90 seconds, it will kind of peak and subside and pass in general. And if it continues for longer than 90 seconds, they say that you are re-triggering that emotion with your thoughts. So feeling your feelings rather than thinking your feelings as an invitation to give yourself permission to just be the human being that you are with all of these big emotions, because they have a lot for us. There's a lot of energy in those emotions. And if we allow them, then we have the opportunity to get information from them and work skillfully with them.